Today, we're going to look at the Opteka 15mm 1:1 f4 macro lens, a very interesting macro lens. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Phil with Photo Gear Fun here today. Got a bit of an interesting lens for you. This is the Opteka 15mm 1:1 f4 macro lens. That's a mouthful. It's a kind of a knockoff of another lens that's on the market, which costs 2 or 3 times the amount. Talk a little bit about the lens really quickly. You can see here it's got a decent size hood. You've got apertures from f4 to f32. It's a completely manual lens. There are no electronics at all. You can go from infinity focus down to 1:1, and you can see the lens is turning or extends as we go through the zoom range. It's a metal body. It's got this really cheap plastic hood that doesn't fit on very easily. You can see the lens elements there. It's a 77mm thread. I chose the Canon SL2, which is what this camera is, to do some macro photography with, and I'll show you why really quickly. It's got live view. It's a DSLR. It's got live view. And inside of live view, you can actually punch in just really quickly and easily to see your focus. So I can zoom into, let's say 5:1, and it makes it really easy. You can see here what's coming into focus. Makes it really easy for macro photography. So I chose this camera specifically for that task. I took it outside, took some photos. It's springtime here, so we've got some things in bloom. I'll show you some of the pictures. I'll show you what's unique about this. Really, what's unique is that 15mm field of view. It allows you to take some environmental shots and kind of show the element in its environment. But we'll take you over the computer. I'll show you those pictures, and then we'll come back and wrap up this first look at the Opteka 15mm f4 1:1 macro lens. Here are some pictures. I wanted to show you kind of first what's unique about this. You can see this is a little hummingbird light that we have. I'm zooming in pretty close on this, and you can see how much of the background you can get in focus. You can zoom in a little bit and see that the hummingbird light is in focus here, but it's kind of unique, and you can see that the bokeh is pretty good. I'll show you just a couple more angles of that. This was taken at f8. You can still see that there's a pretty good bokeh. This was taken at f4, and you can see that background is really, really blown out. And then this is just another angle of that. That's kind of what makes this unique. Even when you get in tight on the subject, you're able to show the environment around it. Not that this is the prettiest, and none of these pictures are going to win any awards, but just wanted to show you what the lens could do. Here is an apple blossom. So again, you can see the kind of the wide field of view here. Zoom in a little bit on that, and you can see the detail. Let's go into 200%. So you can see this was taken at f8, as most of these were. Really thin depth of field. You can see around these little stemma, I think they're called. Focusing on this is really not a lot in focus. So it goes from f4 to f32, and you can certainly go, but you can make that depth of field deeper by going down to f32. I just wanted to keep this at f8 to give you an idea on what this lens will do kind of at f8, which might be the sweet spot for the lens. So here's another apple blossom. Looks pretty good. Again, if you look at the entire shot, I really like the colors. Clarity looks good. It seems to render things very, very well. Here's another example of that. And again, look at the environment around it. We'll zoom into 100% here, and you can see this one's slightly overexposed in this area, but it does, again, give you an idea on what this lens can do and how much you can fit into the photograph. And I'm pretty close at this point, maybe a couple of inches away from these. So it gives you an idea on really how wide this lens is. And again, it's kind of unique in that aspect. You can see what I got in focus here. Captured an ant here. It's not on the focal plane. This was taken at f8 again, but you can see that ant. And look at the detail on the leaves. You can see all the veins in the leaves, and you can see all the little spots. I think it's pretty sharp. Again, this is at f8. The detail is pretty pretty amazing, I think. And this again gives you an idea on the scale. This is a magnolia flower. It's a fairly big flower, but you can see that I was able to get that flower in plus some of its environment. And again, you can see the detail here. I really, really think that this is a very detailed lens and very sharp. Well, it's sharp, definitely. I don't know about very sharp, but it's definitely sharp. And here's an idea on, it's not really the zoom range, technically, but I'm going to call it the zoom range. So this is a wide shot. I'm at infinity focus here. And what I'm going to do is focus down to the bench. So let me go back here. So this is the wide shot. And what I'm focusing in on in the other shot where I'm at almost 1-to-1 is here on the bench. So you can see wide to very narrow. Again, these aren't necessarily the technically correct terms, but you get an idea on what you can do for zoom range, if you will. And just wanted to show you some detail here. Again, thin depth of focus, f8. Color looks good. Bokeh looks pretty good, actually. Not too bad at all. And again, just another. I'm really, really close to this plant, within ½ an inch probably. And then I just focused in on this little spot here. I think I missed focus maybe just a little bit. But that kind of gives you an idea on what this lens can do. It's got a great clarity to it, great color. It's pretty sharp. Again, you can see the bokeh. You can see the fact that the field of view is just really, really wide. So those were the pictures that I took. I didn't take any video. I don't know that folks would use this for video. Maybe in the full review, I'll take some video. Those are the pictures. Let's wrap up this first look at the Opteka 15mm f4 1-to-1 macro lens. So those were the pictures. Pretty good. What do I think of the lens? I think it's pretty sharp for the money. I think it's very interesting and unique. You can see you can get some very unique angles and you can show some things that you wouldn't normally show with a normal macro lens, say a 30mm or a 60mm macro lens. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to use it a lot more here during the spring, try to get some insects, which is kind of my favorite macro photography subjects. But so far, I mean, I like it for the price. It's a really good lens, something that if you're into macro photography and you're looking to show something potentially interesting, this might be a lens for you. Again, I'll do a full review, so stay tuned and subscribe for that. Get out there and have your photo gear fun. Hope you enjoyed this first look at the Opteka 15mm 1-to-1 macro lens. I will talk at you again in the next video.